This is real goblin hours. Took a nap earlier today. So I am well rested ish. Meaning I won't be able to go to sleep tonight at the normal time. What's up, Frosty? Got a big bowl of chicken here, some Bell and Evans, just regular Bell and Evans. Have half of the lubrication formula here. I had a grapefruit earlier. Eggs today, some buttermilk, which yeah, it's over there. That's good. Yeah. Keeping it kind of light because I'm slimming down. Slimming down for the summer. I'm trying to get a summer bod going. I gotta look good for the conference. Is pineapple really that good for you? Yes. Yes, I really like pineapple. I tend to not eat it in the winter because things like grapefruit and oranges are more palatable, especially grapefruit. Been having a craving for those. But yeah, in the summer, I'm doing pineapple in my hydration formulas and eating it plain as well with meat sometimes. It's a nice little, it's a tropical fruit. It's kind of a summer fruit. It's pretty nice. But yeah, it is good. It's good for your bones. It's good for, helping with digestion. It's good to help with, getting rid of some of the toxic stuff in your body. Mm. Yeah, pineapple's an S tier fruit for sure. Unripe pineapple. Of course, I live in Ohio. I can't get a lot of unripe pineapple. I get what I get. They can get to Ohio. You know what I'm saying? So even if it isn't unripe, I'm still eating it. I just find the greenest one. I take that home and I eat that. Probably be a good idea to freeze the pineapple, but it's a little can be a little cumbersome. Would you still recommend to eat raw meat if I can only access store quality? Yeah, I mean, yeah, just cut it off the outside sections. Um, and get it from the butcher. Tender meats aren't bad for you, but they're just not as good as the more tough meats. Um, I like to buy the lean cuts, the sirloin roasts, the roasts, pretty much any roast except chuck roast. The supermarket chuck roast is really bad, but if you get good quality beef, the chuck roast is actually pretty decent, but it's just not my style. I ate the chuck and the shoulder meats for gosh, 2 years. I had to stop. I had to move on. So I do lean roasts and then I get my fat through, the butter or eggs. Even grass fed you have to cut. Yeah. Watch my video on how they spray meat. Raw dairy always gives me huge problems like diarrhea. Yeah, that can be common for some people starting out, even for like a month, 2 weeks. It should go away after like 2 weeks to a month. If it doesn't, then that might be a sign to ease off on the dairy. Make sure it's fermented. Make sure it's room temperature. All that stuff. But some people just can't really deal with raw dairy. So if that's the case, just stick to butter and cheese if you can't do the milk. Yeah, so if you're wondering, thanks for 2K, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you're wondering why it's a no girls allowed stream, let me tell you, I got a funny story. So I was talking with a female, let's say it's a colleague. She said, "Hey, can we talk? Can you talk to you about something?" I'm like, "Okay, sure. Yeah, what's up?" She said, "Well, I just wanted to let you know that there was a girl watching one of your streams when you were talking about the conference." I was like, "What? Are you serious?" And she said, "Yeah," and she, was interested in coming to the conference, but something you said kind of turned her off and she wasn't going to come. And I was like, "Okay, well what was her problem?" And what I heard what she said was that, "Oh, I said that primal women are only after your money and they're going to take half your money." It's like, well, first of all, that's just the way the system is designed if you get married. That's all women. I'm not singling out primal women. But I made it very clear that I'm not really interested in, you know, dating a woman who's, primal, or that's like her whole thing. Some people make this their whole thing. That's not me. It's just like a way you eat. So um again, I'm not, if someone wants to eat raw, that's great, but like that's not a precondition. That's not a deal breaker by any means. But she's not going to be eating McDonald's and stuff. That's not really. I mean, just the way you make certain life choices, it just puts you on a certain level. It's not like. I mean, even just saying that, like, yeah, I'm not going to date someone who eats McDonald's. Well, of course not, because they're going to be on a completely different level mentally, spiritually, physically. There's just not going to be a compatibility there. But no, so I wasn't singling out primal women taking half your money. I was just marking that, if you get married, all women have the chance to take half of your stuff. And that's not being sexist. That's just the way the system is. So she got offended by this and she said, "Oh, well, because he said that, I'm not coming to the conference." Oh, great. Super. You sound like, yeah, I can't take a joke. You sound like a lot of fun. Here you go. I'm probably gonna get in trouble again. The only other time one woman is gonna tune into my stream is when I'm telling the story. What's crazy is I went back and I checked my analytics after she told me this story. I checked my analytics and it's incredible. It's 99% male and it was like 1% female. The only female audience it caps it like tops at 5% is they watch my shorts. That's just people randomly getting shorts. Like that's not people looking for my content. But the one woman who's ever watched any of my stuff tunes in, I say that, and she gets offended. She misunderstands it, and then she gets offended. So, isn't that funny? Yeah, you need the fat with the meat. So, the dairy isn't fat. The milk isn't fat. The milk is milk. Thoughts on people saying detox is cope for parasites? I don't know. What does that mean? Are you saying people are coping that parasites are detoxification assistance? Sometimes they're not even assistance for detoxification, but they just kind of help regulate your gut. You look at, Ajahn just spoke about Dr. Joe Weinstock. 2 likes, by the way, 10 viewers. Thanks for watching. And he gave people like whipworm to treat their IBS. Every 6 months, they would get whipworm to treat their IBS. So it's not necessarily. It just depends. But there certainly are parasites that are not good for you that don't belong in the human body, for sure. Yes, but that's like such a very rare thing. I fart a lot when drinking milk. That's okay. Um, when I first started and I was doing a lot of eggs, I had the nastiest gas. It was really just terrible, and it was lingering gas. It was putrid, lingering gas, but it went away. You know, and I found that sometimes when I try a new food, it kind of cleans me out, and something gets released. Like when I first started drinking grapefruit juice, I got some serious gas the first few times, um, and it would smell really bad. But after that, it's fine, and I eat grapefruit all the time. I've eaten not hundreds, well, maybe hundreds. Let's count the months here: November, December, January, February, March, April, 5, 6. So I've eaten probably well over 150 grapefruit, and I don't have this gas problem anymore. Um, Glad you agree milk isn't fat. Maybe you could have backed me up the other day. Yeah, well, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if you're talking about that conversation. I don't really have time to delve into that. Sorry. That detox is really parasites. Well, detox is not really parasites. That isn't accurate. Life is one big misunderstanding, and I love it. There's multiple doctors from the early 1900s that used parasites to cure a variety of ailments. Big if true. Is it okay to drink milk, honey, and egg milkshake with meat? I mean, it's not ideal. It's not ideal. You definitely don't want to have cream with it, unless it's sour cream, and you could probably get away with fermented milk as well, a little more of that. But generally, you don't want to drink. Generally, you don't want to drink anything when you're trying to eat meat because it dilutes your hydrochloric acid, either the water or the calcium in the dairy. It's a base. It neutralizes the acids, so you don't want to do that. Just think back to your chemistry class in high school. I consume raw milk, oysters, egg yolk, but for some reason red meat is kind of scary because of tapeworm. It really isn't. There's little worms in your oysters too, by the way. So if you're scared of worms, don't look too hard in your oysters because there's worms in there. You need to be eating the whole egg whites. That's probably why you're afraid because you don't eat the egg whites too. Because you're afraid of anti nutrients in egg white. So that's probably your problem. Favorite nuts to use in nut formula? Definitely pecans, hickory nuts. I made some with hickory nuts. It tastes like waffle crisp. It's really good. Hickory nuts are a wild pecan nut. It's a farm that I was helping out, or a neighbor to the stand I work at. Of course, I don't know if I'll keep working the farmers markets this year because the guy calls me. He's like, "Hey, someone canceled on me. Could you like come to this market and pick up the trailer and then take it back and drive it here and then bring it back?" And I was like, "Ah, geez, I don't know. I've never driven a trailer before. Number one, I kind of feel like I'm gonna break something. Like I don't really want that liability. And number two, it's like I've got to do something else. I had plans. I got to leave at like 12:30. So I was, it's gonna cut into my schedule there. Didn't hear back from him. So hopefully he's probably a little mad, but I don't know. Oh well. I'm just tired. Raw kefir tastes like throw up. Sometimes You have to you can't let it ferment in the fridge. When it ferments in a cold temperature, it's more bitter. You have to let it on the counter. There's still some in this community they call Augenis guy a sect leader. I know he was correct about raw meat. You mean like a cult leader? A sect leader, cult leader, I think you mean. Yeah, I mean, raw foods are great. It's pretty undeniable no matter, what sort of diet you're coming from, you can't really dispute it. Repeat actually doesn't because it's his diet his thing's just based on sugar. So it isn't optimal for hormone production. And taking hormones isn't part of diet. It's that's also a cop out as well. So what's up, Pan Pan? Well, I mean, certainly it's a little bit of a cult thing going on there. I don't think it's inaccurate to say. And I don't think Augenis was like really pure either. I mean, remember, a lot of people forget he was a deadbeat dad who cheated on, his partner. So a lot of people like to say Augenis was this guy, but it's like, yeah, and we all make mistakes. Like I get it, but just to hold him up in that regard is pretty foolish. Sigma, of course. I've seen videos of Maasais and other tribes drink water stuck in sand for months. Yeah, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. Whenever I ferment my milk with honey, it tastes almost like an alcoholic drink. Yes, because when you add sugar to something that's fermenting, it creates alcohol. Basically, like if you were to take amphetamine to stimulate your heart and saying that is healthy. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I mean the thyroid is important, but you can support your thyroid with lots of other things as well. Like the lubrication formula is really good for your endocrine system. You can eat thyroid. You can take desiccated thyroid. If you have high thyroid problems, then you take thyroid hormone. That's what it says in the book. If the diet doesn't help, then you would take thyroid hormone. Uh, Not a joke question. Yeah, we're just not going to get into that. I don't really want to get into. I don't want to talk about that. How important is spring water? Um, I mean, it's important to have good quality water when you have water or you drink water or you use water. Findaspring.com, get a well water. You know, I don't. I use well water. I don't drink a lot of water though. Let's see here. I think I had a sip of water today with a couple eggs. Yesterday I didn't drink any water. Usually I have like a sip because I use water to brush my teeth mostly. Um, yeah, I don't really drink much water. In the summer, it gets hot. I'll drink some water. I had lemonade. I was out in the sun all day for a few days this weekend. I made some lemonade. Just use well water. Specifically, he was wrong about the mineral cycle. Not all life can absorb minerals. Well, I mean, I think that's kind of what happens. That's kind of how it works. I watched They Live by John Carpenter. That was a solid movie. Really good symbolism in the fight scene between the main awake guy and the black guy. Yeah, They Live's a great movie. John Carpenter's great. He does his own sounds and his own soundtrack. So it's really an immersive cinema experience. If you're looking for other good movies too, In Bruges is a good movie. Any David Lynch film, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah, David Lynch movies, man, what a trip. I watched 8 Millimeter the other day with Nick Cage. That's a pretty good movie. Pretty dark, but you know, not kind of related to the things you've been finding out. What's up, AFK? Ray Pete's diet gave him hypothyroidism. I do know he like died in his bed for like a year before he finally kicked the bucket. And he doesn't show his teeth. He never shows his teeth. Probably because the sugar rotted some of them out. This BS that ocean water is toxic doesn't make any sense. Um, I mean the oceans are pretty polluted in general. Why did Odge look unhealthy later on? The veg juice messed him up. That's silly because he was only drinking a cup of vegetable juice a week, so it wasn't really the veg juice that messed him up. He was, you know, in his late 60s and he had, all that health stuff, that bad stuff happened to him. So is raw fat from vaccinated cattle fine? Um, it's not ideal. Is honey only a temporary tool for enzymes? No, I mean you can eat honey. Oh, you should call me again. I have some stuff to add. I keep hearing about oil shortages from alternative media this summer. I wonder if that's true. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Saw a refinery in New Orleans catch fire, and Iran is not going to capitulate. So it's just creating a domino effect of supply and demand, of prices, higher prices through the world. The fertilizer is going to be a big one, and the U.S. already has drought conditions, so it's not good. Really isn't good. We'll probably see $6 gasoline this summer, I'd reckon. Mm. Mm. I mean, oceans without human pollution, they are full of life. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's. I mean, it's just not good to drink. There's something that's good to drink salt water. What to do if I got my finger X-rayed? Don't worry about it. Just do the diet. I find it fascinating that mainstream streaming services allow movies like They Live to be viewed by the public in regards to censorship. Do I know of Jack Cruz? Yeah, I know about Quantum Quack Jack. Does raw milk from injected cows still work? Yeah, it's fine. Are you preparing for possible food shortages? No, YOLO. He looked unhealthy after those 3 injections. You can clearly see he looks different and sounds different with slurred speech in the first years after he gets them. He does end up making some recovery. Yeah, I guess. I don't really pay too much attention to that stuff. Hey, let's see here. I'm gonna maybe do a poll. Start a poll. Should I call resident raw? Yes, no. Okay. Yeah, let's see here. Let's see what the audience says. Do we want resident raw to call in? I've heard there's way more oil available in the world. Yeah, I mean, the problem is the refinery. The refineries are the bottleneck. That's the problem. Yeah, there's a lot of oil, but you have to turn the oil into things. So basically, the industry's been regulated into oblivion, and it's so expensive to make oil of refineries that they don't make them anymore, pretty much. Except they're doing one in Texas. They hired like an Indian company to do it. But yeah, so production is different than like the refinery capacity, which is actually what makes the gasoline, which is actually what drives the price and supply of petroleum products in the world. Not just they drill for oil. That you just can't drill for oil and put it in your car. You understand? I don't know why he can't understand diet and sun are equally important. Well, it's because he's just kind of a grifter and he doesn't he wants to be his own brand. He's kind of a arrogant ass. And maybe that's rude to say, but he's just very arrogant. I'll retract the ass part, but he's very arrogant. And I mean, a lot of these people who do this quantum stuff, they don't even look that healthy. Like they just look normal. They look normal or they look overweight or they look underweight. They don't have good muscle mass. They're not like shining examples of health, my opinion. I mean, they look normal at best. It's not impressive, you know. Yeah, because I saw someone. It's like, oh, you should work out outside and you'll get really strong. And it's like someone was, I think it was a girl, a woman who was talking about it, and she just looked like kind of chubby. Like she just looked not that healthy or strong. It was like, okay, yeah, put it into practice then. All right, let me figure this out. Excellent health as a Giga Chad. It looks like he has Gino because he always has his shirt off. He looks like he has Gino and he's just skinny. He's like a twig. Um, he used to be more robust. He used to have some weight on him, some mass, but now he's just like he just looks really skinny. You think the U.S. is cooked long term? How bad is it to drink pasteurized orange juice? Not good. Um, yeah, I mean, the United States is kind of cooked. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I mean, everywhere's kind of cooked. Like what's where do you go? I don't know. But the thing is like all these data centers are putting everywhere. It's so bad. I mean, they're just gonna be the blueprint for total like Orwellian surveillance, and they're gonna use up all the water, and then they're gonna pollute the waterways, and then they're just gonna monitor like everything you do, and electricity is gonna be expensive. I don't know, unless like there's some huge reset that like gets rid of a lot of people, so then like you could actually afford a house and a used car. But yeah, yeah, I mean, if you could remember the US before 9/11, that's like when the US was like actually still a country. But after that, it was like it was done. Like that was the end. So, I don't know. But the US does have oil. The strategy there geopolitically is use their oil before we use our oil, basically. I don't pay attention to that stuff. That was something big that happened to him. His poor health in those times confused the people about the legitimacy of the diet his creator looked sick. Yeah, I mean, I don't like study video clips of Agenus and was like, oh well, he looks good here in the 2010 workshop. He looks pretty good here, even though the quality is only 480p. But in this other video clip in 2013, he doesn't look as healthy. I mean, like, dude, I don't really care. I don't know, man. Like, what do you want me to say? I don't know. If people like feel a certain way about whatever, I'm like, okay, fine. I don't really care. I mean, I wouldn't be doing the diet if it didn't work for me. Okay, so like, let me
What
figure
up,
this out here. Which one is this? I think it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. So, oh wait, hold on. I gotta turn on my volume. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Okay. Leo's gonna come in and talk about this and explain it all because he's he's so smart. Okay. Hold on. Oh wait. I think I just have to unmute it. Okay. So you should be good now.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yeah. I think you're coming through.
Got it. Yeah, I think everyone can hear me. So listen, about that. So in 2009, you remember the swine flu thing that was going on in 2009?
Yeah, I know he came out against it, and then they supposedly got him in Philippines, and that's when he got the stingray and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So it messed him up pretty bad. If you go to his website, wewantTolive.com, I think now it's primaldiet.net, and you can find photos on the website of him after those injections. So, he never said it was a V word. All he said was he woke up to, I believe it was two men, and they had three needles inside of him. And then they put a rag over his face that made him pass out. I think the kind of chemical they use for that, it starts with CH. I forget, like kala something. I forgot what it
It
is,
was
but it's some kind of.
something. It was something more strong than chloroform. He said.
Okay. Chloroform's pretty strong. I know of one serial killer who used too much chloroform and it killed his victim. Well, he wasn't a serial killer. He was a serial R word,
Okay.
and he
All
used
right.
way
We're
too much.
approaching Goda's territory. Okay. I think you got your point across.
Yeah. But anyways, he used too much chloroform and it killed the victim. So it's a powerful substance. Anyways, after 2009, you can see that his like health rapidly declined, and that's when he lost a lot of his hair, and his hair started turning gray. Um, I'm not sure when he came up with the conclusion that heavy metals gray your hair. But after those three injections, he took a hair mineral analysis test, and the heavy metals shot up like three times what it was before. He had his hair mineral analysis test, I think in 2004 or 2008, and then he had another one in 2011. So that's why some people said he looked kind of chopped after 2009. But to be honest, I think he looked fine. He looked fine, honestly. It's just
I
his
mean,
hair
he was an
turned
old
gray.
man. I don't know what people expect.
Yeah. Even when you compare him to old men around his age, he still looks great. I mean, compare him to Ray Pete or especially Darko Velchek. Darko Velchek just looks horrible. Um, but yeah, I had some stuff to add about Ray Pete's diet. You know, the fundamental, like the philosophy of Ray Pete's diet is that the thyroid is everything, and you need to stimulate the thyroid as much as possible because they believe metabolism is everything. They believe metabolism is like the key to health. And this whole philosophy of stimulating the thyroid, it's pretty much as if you said you should be taking meth to stimulate your heart, because meth obviously makes your heart beat faster, makes your heartbeat work better. But it's not a good fundamental to live by. You can see Ray Peat gave himself hyperthyroidism. And he started talking about how he like took magnesium to help with the hyperthyroidism and stuff. But yeah, he gave himself hyperthyroidism, which is where your thyroid functions too quickly. So that's not amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, thyroid stuff. When I eat thyroid, I feel pretty good, but when I took desiccated. I took like 160 milligram desiccated dose of
That's
thyroid.
a big dose.
Yeah, I didn't feel anything. I mean, I'd eat it with
Mm.
honey, and yeah, I didn't feel it. I didn't feel a damn thing. So I stopped taking it, and I was like, oh, I don't really feel any difference. So yeah, I was like, I guess my thyroid isn't like that cooked, but I definitely
I'm
feel
a-
something when I eat thyroid.
I'm actually diagnosed with hypothyroidism. Um, I'm gonna be experimenting with desiccated thyroid soon, just because well, my thyroid feels fine. Here's the funny thing: when I was younger, I also had goiter. I had an enlarged thyroid, and all of that went away. But recently, I've felt like I've put on a bunch of weight, haven't been eating too much meat. I feel like my thyroid could be improved. I think it could be in better shape than it currently is. I also haven't been eating fruit, and fruit's pretty good for the thyroid, especially dates, stimulate the thyroid.
Yeah, dates, cheese, and butter is what he recommends in the book.
Yeah, yeah. And so I'm curious to see if supplementing thyroid will do anything for me because I am diagnosed hypothyroidism, like I said. And according to the medical industry, you can't cure hypothyroidism, only treat it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even that's why he says if nothing else works, take the thyroid hormone. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I
You know
mean,
the
it's yeah,
the thyroid was pretty emphasized by Ogenus in his book. He mentions thyroid, I believe, over 40 times. I believe it was 49 times. He mentions the thyroid quite a bit. It's pretty important. But even though the thyroid is important, it's technically not a vital organ because you can live without your thyroid.
I guess. I
Like
mean, yeah,
you're supposed to, if you have your thyroid removed, you're supposed to supplement with levothyroxine. I wonder what would happen to somebody who had their thyroid removed that never took any kind of thyroid hormone, but you can live without it, which means like, yeah, sure, it's nice for optimizing metabolism and whatnot, but don't need it to be alive, so it can't be that important.
I guess. Um, yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things like where if if like there's just things I don't really know or care about because I didn't have a problem with them, or I wasn't
Right.
interested in them, or I wasn't, you know, helping somebody with it, clients or whatever. So like I don't know about it. I'm just like okay. Like diabetes. Like people ask
Mm-hmm.
me about diabetes, I'm like, dude, I don't know. Just read the book. He had diabetes, I guess, one of the types, and he said it went away.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't know. I don't deal with that in my life, so I don't really know how to like help you.
Well, Audrey had big clients, so everything he was working with generally big, important stuff like the C word, something that kind of sounds like the word canker that I don't want to
Yeah,
say on YouTube because they don't like you. They don't like you talking about that ailment.
the big C.
Yeah, the big C. He spoke about that a lot, and I've never dealt with anyone that has the big C because that's, generally people that get the big C are older individuals, and older individuals are very difficult to get on this diet. But diabetes is something I've dealt with. There's quite a few young people with diabetes. It's pretty common, type 1 specifically. But the thyroid, it's something I've had to deal with myself. A lot of people have underactive thyroid. I'm willing to bet probably like 50% of Americans have an underactive thyroid.
Hmm.
Is
Well,
True Health is True Health Project the same guy on Instagram?
yeah,
I know who he is. He's a chill guy.
yeah, yeah. I think he's coming to the conference.
Is he still drinking salt water?
I don't know. I don't really
I'm curious to know if he stopped.
kind of a don't ask, don't tell in that regard. Um, Fruits are okay if you don't eat cooked. Stop fearing sugar, brah. Fruits won't kill you. Um, yeah, I mean, sugar is not good for you. It's not good to eat a lot of fruit. No, I mean, yeah, it's okay to eat some fruit, but eating a lot of fruit's not good. So, yeah.
Those people just haven't ran into a cavity from sugar maxing. Like, listen, if you're young and you start the Ray diet sugar maxing, all your teeth are gonna fall out of your head by the time you're like 28.
Yeah, it catches up with you. So, people don't really get it, but I mean, I guess if you did enough oysters and other stuff, you might be okay, but
Mhm.
it's risky for sure.
You know, it's funny, a lot of the things Ray Pete would say was right for the wrong reasons. He says that coffee, when you consume coffee, you should mix it with heavy cream and sugar. And those are actually good things because the sugar and the heavy cream will all combat the negative response from the caffeine. But you're
Yeah.
still intaking a neurotoxin.
Yep.
And then, other things he'll say, like, he says oysters and raw liver are really good for you. And, like, yeah, they are. And really, like, the only reason I feel like he recommends those is because they combat the damage done by his diet. Because if you're drinking coffee and consuming large amounts of orange juice, if you're eating oysters and liver throughout the week, that'll really like help with the damage it's doing.
Mhm. You feel better on fruits, look at Face IQ. Yeah. That's this dude's definitely trolling.
No, he's serious. He's serious. Like, you can tell he's a Peter.
Oh yeah. How
Mm-hmm.
can you tell?
Because he's talking about not fearing fruit and whatnot, and he was talking about thyroid and like Ray Pete earlier. I
Uh-huh.
mean, listen, Ray Pete's beliefs are pretty insane, but Ray Pete's like an Augenus like character. He's basically like on the opposite side of what Augenus did. Like he's like us where there's communities, there's like archives of everything Ray Pete ever said.
Yeah, yeah, the forums and everything, yeah.
Yeah, Ray Pete's diet's a little bigger though than Augenus because his diet is a lot less strict. And there is no such thing as a Ray Pete diet. People just pick and choose. People just kind of like, pick up what he used to eat. Like, if you think about a Ray Pete day of eating, it's copying what he said he ate and what he would eat. He ate Mexican Coca Cola. He had like pasteurized cheese. He would eat tacos. Um, he would eat raw liver. He'd eat oysters. He'd have cooked steaks. He'd drink coffee. That's just what he
Orange
ate, though.
juice.
Oh yeah, orange juice. That's a big one.
Yep.
And he would start his day off with orange juice, which is pretty nutty. Have you ever heard him speak before?
Yeah.
He kind of talks like this. He's got like a little bit of something in his voice. You know what I mean? He has an interesting way of
Yeah.
speaking.
Uh, if your house explodes right now, what would I do? I don't know. I mean, if my house was gonna explode, I'd probably get taken out with some shrapnel. I'd probably just bleed out on the ground. That's probably what I would do. Both can work, but veggie juice isn't optimal plus nuts. What does that mean?
Bro, I'm so sick of people saying vegetable juice is toxic. Like, there's literally nothing to fear inside of the vegetable juice.
Yeah, it's just people are just dumb. I mean, I've been drinking vegetable juice for like 8 years, man. It's fine.
I've
Never had a problem.
I've found that the vegetable juice is like a regulator. Like, you need it to keep yourself on this diet. Like, it regulates everything. Like, it's and I alter my juice ratio as well. It's like the juice is so important. It's like unbelievably important.
Hmm. Yeah, it definitely makes a difference. That's for sure. So yeah, I haven't really gotten into juicing yet again. Um, we'll see this summer. I may just jump straight into hydration formulas. Honestly, I may not even do it. a lot of juice. I don't know. We'll see. I need to plant some parsley. That's what I'm
You can
lazy.
kind of outgrow the need for the juice.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely. I wouldn't say I need it, but it it helps. But honestly, if I'm doing a hydration formula every day, it's like that's just as good. Especially, we've got the lemon, the lime juice, the apple cider vinegar, tomato, um, you know, that stuff, the cucumber, all that stuff in there really helps. And then, maybe have another lemonade because it's hot out, and I always had like cream to my lemon. Oh, the one thing I've been doing is kelp tea. Been like cold brewing. Um, well, not really cold brewing necessarily, but just letting kelp sit in lemon water with a little apple cider vinegar on the counter and let it sit for like 2 days. And then I'm gonna let it sit like 3 days and just like watch what happens, like, as it starts to ferment a little bit and break down, and, yeah, it's just like drinking green tea, man, and it's really tasty, a lot of iodine in there. It's I think it might be helpful to replace vegetable juice as well in some capacity, so been experimenting with that.
The kelp you get, is it dried or fresh?
It's dried, it's little pellets, so I just
Mm.
let it sit in water with, like I said, like, some lemon juice and some apple cider vinegar, probably about a tablespoon each. And then I just let it sit on the counter. Um, so far, I'm thinking about like putting it in the sun and letting it do like sun brewing, but I don't know about keeping it in the fridge. I'm more interested in letting it start to ferment a little bit, so like it breaks down. As the kelp matter gets broken down more, as opposed to keeping it in the fridge where that wouldn't happen as fast.
I'm quite unsure about kelp just because it is a vegetable and, it comes dried. I'm not really certain that the body can even really utilize the minerals that are in there. And when you look at the iodine as well, the form that the iodine is inside of kelp is not the same as that in animal foods, and the bioavailability isn't as great. So I'm pretty like uncertain of kelp being overtly good for you because I've been asked about it and I've looked into it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think because it's like it's the same thing with like the tobacco drink or whatever. Um, it's like you're not eating the dried foods, but the stuff in the foods is getting like removed from the matter.
Right.
So, I mean, I definitely notice something, it's it's refreshing, and I seem to I was eating a lot of beef, and I seem to still have an appetite for that. So, um, I don't know. I'll just keep doing it. I think it's worth doing if you like tea, you know. It's definitely more palatable than drinking straight vegetable juice for sure, especially like just celery and parsley.
I've had some celery that just tastes delicious. The
Yeah.
hilarious, it's the parsley that makes it a little unappetizing.
Yeah, it tastes like pond water.
Yeah. I want to add, this guy said Face IQ never drank juice and he's fully raw. Face IQ is not fully raw. Face IQ eats a lot of cooked food. On his stories, you can see him cooking steaks and cooking eggs. And in his recent videos, he's like, "Why would I ever eat the egg? Why would I ever eat the raw egg white when it's so much more appetizing cooked?" So he's never been fully raw. And another thing is, when he was carnivore, he would say he ate fruit seasonally. To be honest, I'm willing to bet that Face IQ, when he was carnivore, he ate 90% of his meals cooked and he had a bunch of fruit. He was probably just doing what he does now. He just stopped coping. Because I will say this, he's going too crazy on the carbohydrates, but I think a diet of cooked meat and fruit is healthier than a diet of nothing but cooked meat.
Yeah, probably.
He's going crazy with the juice though. Like he's drinking orange juice for breakfast, and he's like, you know, the first thing you want to do when you wake up is refill liver glycogen. So you want to drink like a cup of orange juice, and then you can have your meat later. So he's doing like 250 grams of sugar a day, which is a little nutty.
Yeah, that's a lot.
The interesting thing is he's getting all his information from Ray Pete, but he's not talking about Ray Pete. I'm not sure why that could be. Maybe he's
Well,
trying not to scare people away.
he's just trying to take credit, you know. It's kind of like how some people will talk about raw meat, they won't bring up Agenus. So they look like the expert.
Hilariously, I saw a guy the other day. His name was I'll tell you right now who it was. Give me a second. So this guy on Instagram, Ollie Taylor, Olite Health. He made a video. He said he had a sore throat, and then he made a concoction for his sore throat. And in the comments, he was like, "Comment drink, and I'll send you the recipe." It was literally 1-to-1 Agenus's sore throat remedy. And if you go through his entire page, it's Agenus stuff. He never says Agenus's name.
Yeah. Yep, that's how people do. Sun. Veg juice okay on occasion. Um you can get a cold press like oh, the 7-Eleven vegetable juice. No. You can get it's called Evolution juice. It's cold pressed. It's in the store. You can drink that. It's raw. It's fine. Um I'm not eating the kelp to drink the kelp tea. Well, no, I do eat when I have sushi, I get extra I bought extra what are they called? Nori sheets. And I'll eat extra nori with my sushi. But that's dried. And even Ajna said it might be benefit to eat it because it's got a lot of minerals. I think. I heard someone talking about it.
The kelp?
Yeah. Well, not kelp, but nori and stuff like seaweed, stuff like
Ah,
that. Sea vegetation
yeah.
because there's different kinds.
Also, I hate to break it to you, Unc, but I don't think evolution cold pressed is truly raw. Because cold pressed kind of doesn't mean anything, like legally.
No, I mean it's refrigerated. So I think the way they press it is you know, fine.
Well, they do. So they don't use typical heating, but they use high pressure processing. And I think they do that. Have you seen that pink coconut water?
No.
Well, in the store, they sell these coconut waters that they can't legally label it raw anymore, but they used to label it as raw coconut water. And what it is, it's they don't pasteurize it, but they do. I believe it's high pressure processing, and it keeps the enzymes intact, and the enzymes make the coconut water turn pink, and that's supposed to be closer to raw. I've drank that before. I will say it feels more raw than pasteurized coconut water, but it doesn't hit quite the same as, you know, making your own coconut water, cracking your own coconut open. So it's a little different. Yeah, I'd be cautious about the juice, honestly, like the store bought juice.
Hmm.
But I guess if you're going to drink a juice from the store, be much better to have this than anything else.
I'm watching the video here. Yeah.
What
It's
video you
just high
watching?
pressure, just high pressure. So I'm just saying I don't think I don't think the heat's an issue like the coconut because like they're just pressing vegetables. They're not pressing like coconut stuff, which is gets a little it's just harder to do. Well, I suppose I should email them and ask, but I don't know. I mean, I taste very similar to the juice I make. I mean, obviously it's not as fresh, but
Well, one thing that also concerns me is my juice ferments extremely quickly. Like, there's just no way you would be able to process that and put it on the shelf. Because my juice, it's like the flavor changes dramatically in 3 days, and then within 7 days, it's like sour.
no, yeah, this is they ship it out. If you look at the dates, they ship it out pretty regularly, and they do have expiry dates, and they do like they're on sale a lot. So I always buy them when they're on sale. So because they try to move them. So
Maybe I'll give it a try.
I mean, it's definitely worth it if you're not like if it's on sale and you're like, oh, I don't really want to like buy a bunch of stuff to juice. Like, I mean, it's not going to be as good as like fresh juice, but I mean, I think it's worth it.
This guy said
Cold
he ate
pressed
cooked.
is not pasteurized.
This guy said he ate a cooked meal and his arthritis came back. That'll happen.
Interesting.
This
Who
guy
ate
asked me if I
factory
actually
farm?
ate the factory farm pork. I did.
Oh, yikes.
That's probably the worst meat to have, though. I'm not even gonna lie. Factory farm pork.
By far.
But I was just making a point.
Yeah, I get it.
I- I'm willing to do stuff like that to I'm willing to experiment on myself a little bit. Next month, when I come back from the I probably shouldn't say that, but next month, late next month, I'm gonna do some stuff with honey. I'm getting a glucose monitor and I'm gonna like eat pasteurized honey, unheated honey, quote unquote raw honey, and also experiment with a little bit of like white cane sugar and see how that affects blood glucose.
Hmm.
But unheated honey, it still spikes your blood glucose, but it's notably less than the quote unquote raw honey.
Hmm.
I wish factory farm pork gave you tapeworms.
Yeah. Some people are after the tapeworms.
Yeah. You remember our good pal who used to eat pig intestines with the fecal matter in them?
No.
Well, somebody definitely did that.
Hmm. Good for them. Is colostrum actually better than milk? I don't think so. I
It's
think it
definitely
tastes bad.
not. Yeah, yeah, it doesn't taste like
It
it.
tastes like really weird butter. It's like drinking weird butter.
That's
I
what
don't
it
like it.
is.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's yeah.
I
I will
mean,
say colostrum is good if you can't get butter, but like if you can get butter, if you can get colostrum, you can definitely get butter.
it's it's definitely like healthy, but I just don't really like it. I mean, it's like $20 a quart, $40 a quart. It's not really my jam for that much money.
And honestly, like colostrum is like literally for baby cows.
Yeah.
Like that's literally for baby cows. I have this personal theory of mine that milk is almost a defense mechanism from the cow because it produces so much milk. Like obviously cows today are bred for their milk, but you can even see this in other animals. They produce so much milk. I almost feel like they give the milk to humans as an offering to like keep me alive and I'll keep bringing this milk to you.
Mhm. It's yeah, it's a nice thing, milk.
I said unheated honey doesn't leave a film on my teeth like regular sugar. Yeah, even like pasteurized, like quote unquote raw honey will leave a film on your teeth.
Interesting. I never noticed that.
You can see that with any kind of like if you drink a soda, if you drink anything with sugar, it'll leave like a little film on your teeth.
Hmm.
That doesn't happen with raw sugars though. Like even fruit, I saw this vegan. He's one of those like alkaline vegan guys. He was a African American gentleman. He said he was like eat white bread
Mm.
and after you eat it, notice that there's like a film on your teeth. And this is true. Any grain product will leave like a film on your teeth. But then after that, don't brush your teeth. Eat an apple, and you'll notice that the apple will wash like the film out of your teeth. And I
Mm-hmm.
have noticed that, like that fruit can almost kind of like clean off your teeth. You shouldn't be brushing with fruit. That's not a great idea. But either way, the raw sugars just they don't leave behind those residues. They're not as sticky as the cooked sugars.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I never really noticed that. I do notice that some days I'll have more plaque in my mouth than others. I haven't really tracked what causes that, but
Well, one thing you can think of is like if you heat white cane sugar, it turns basically into molasses almost. It turns into like that sticky goop. You think about high fructose corn syrup, that's really sticky. But
mhm,
fructose in general is a sticky molecule. So there's something to those like when you cook a carbohydrate, when you cook a sugar, it turns like sticky.
I see. Interesting. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Like I said, the hardest part is convincing parents for raw meat consumption. I said this before, but listen, you're never gonna convince your parents to eat raw. It's never happening.
Yeah, it's a waste of time to try to convince people.
You know what the best way to convince people is?
Just do it.
It's it's by yeah, pretty much. It's by not convincing them. It's by leading by example. Because listen, I have a big friend group, about 10 people that aren't on the diet. Literally like 8 of them, like almost all there's like 2 of them that are really stubborn and like remember when this new thing was spreading around, they were like, "Oh, bro, it's not a big deal because the infection rate is it's only transmitted through very, through intimacy, and you don't got to worry about it." And I was like, "Bro, it's literally like not even real. Like it's literally not even real." But anyways, these 2 people they're really stubborn. Everyone else though, I've gotten to like bare minimum try raw milk. Like 4 of them are regularly drinking it. The rest of them have tried it and they're like, "Whatever." But none of these people I tried to convince. They just saw me and I led by example. Like, well, this
Yeah,
guy isn't dead.
monkey see,
This guy's
monkey
healthier than
do.
us. Yeah.
A lot of people aren't really wired to understand
Well, let
and
me ask you
learn through
something.
logic. It's more like how they'll feel about something. That's what persuades people.
Let me ask you something. When you first heard about raw meat or any kind of meat diet in general, did it instantly click?
No, I actually saw the Augenus Ripley thing way back in 2010.
Really?
And yeah, I saw it on Reddit. I remember watching it and I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And then I was in this phrase, I was kind of in my Reddit phase where I was just like consuming knowledge. So I watched that and I just moved on to the next thing. I was like, okay, that's interesting. I was like, wow, that's interesting. That's crazy. And then I was like, okay, on to the next thing. I don't know, the next Wikipedia article, the next, article, whatever. And yeah, I just sort of didn't really pursue it. I wish I would have, because I would have been able to get, a consultation and everything. I would have avoided some health mistakes, and then I would have been on the diet for 16 years if I would have started in 2010 instead of 8. So, but yeah, it's just like maybe stuff just keeps reappearing until you're ready to receive it.
Um, that's not a great example though, because I feel like in the Ripley show, He didn't really explain. It was like like a shock piece, really, the Ripley show. Um, the first time you ever heard about any kind of meat-based diet in depth, like, did it click for you?
I mean, I guess. I mean, I was watching Frank Tufano's video on autogenous, and um, other people were, basically just GOTUS were doing that online, and I mean, maybe there were a few other people like Derek Nance, but
Oh, yeah, didn't you interact with Goatus before he had all the problems?
he came through my state on his road trip, and he was like, "Yeah, I mean, I might do a meetup," and I was like, "Okay, like I'll come." But he blew me off. I don't think he wanted people with an audience to interact with him, and maybe he just kind of like I told him I was like, "Oh, I'm working today, but I'll be free later." I don't he doesn't he's like never had a job, so I don't think he realizes that like when you work a job, you're not like chained to your desk or whatever for the whole day. It's like you're only there for like a certain amount of time. So I don't know. Not really a big deal. Um
Mm. Well, listen, the reason I ask this is for me, the very first time I heard about meat-based diets, it instantly clicked, and I've never looked back ever. And I feel like if it doesn't click for you the first time, it'll probably never click for you.
yeah,
So
I mean that's probably true.
that's why, like, when I explain people this diet or I explain people just meat-based diets in general, if they don't instantly like agree, then I just move on to somebody else.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, hello cat. It is me, Leo.
Yeah, I mean, people
Mm.
ask me about my diet, I just talk about, like, yeah, I'm just waiting for the worms to eat my brain and kill me, put me out of my misery.
Well, what I tell people is I always spoon feed them it. I'm always like, listen, meat, dairy, eggs, that's where humans derive their nutrition from. And then any kind of vegetable matter, it's can be pretty problematic, consuming whole vegetables, fruit, give or take, can be good or bad. That's how I spoon feed people. I'm like, listen, if you want to be healthy, start drinking raw milk. Uh, you know, cook your meat less. Don't add random weird spices to it. Don't add no like McCormick's on there. That's how I spoon feed people. Because even then, if you get people, it's pretty much the Paul Saladino diet. If you get people on the Paul Saladino diet, they'll be a lot healthier than what they were before. Just as long as they don't eat as much fruit as he does, because he goes insane with the fruit.
Yeah, it's a little much. Tons of milk with no issues, that's great.
I recently, dude, even though I've been doing this, like I've been eating healthy for over 4 years, I only recently got my parents to start drinking raw milk.
Yeah,
And
it takes some time.
and here's the thing. I couldn't convince them. You know how they got convinced? They I would pay my mom to go buy raw milk at the farmers market when I was too busy to go there myself. And one day she went there and she was sitting in line and some random lady her age was like telling her about like, "Hey, this is the only milk I can tolerate. I put this in my coffee. I really like this milk." And she was like, I've heard there's some health benefits, but really the only reason I drink this is because I can't drink store-bought milk. It all gives me the runs. It gives me problems. And then my mom was like, you know what? This reasonable lady is drinking it because my mom, like, even though my mom respects what I'm doing now, like she thinks I'm crazy, bro. Like my mom thinks I'm deranged. She thinks I'm crazy.
Yeah.
And also, I look a lot like my father, like a lot like my father, and I know she hates that because she
Mm,
divorced my father like 7 years ago. I know she hates that I look like my father. She'll be like, "God, you even walk like your father." So I think she does that to spite me in a way
mm,
to not try the milk. But recently she cracked.
nice. Yeah, baby steps.
Well, I know she's not gonna go any further than drinking the milk, but that's a start.
Yeah, it's something. I mean, really, the big thing is just not putting a bunch of junk in your body and poison. Like a lot, like that's only the reason the diet becomes so important is if you're damaged. If you're never damaged, then you don't really need the diet. You know,
Yeah,
realistically.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, 100%. But listen, something I've been thinking about lately, dude. If you question this diet, just go eat a bunch of cheese with honey. Like just eat a ton of cheese with honey, bro. It all makes sense. Listen, even if like when you eat it with your hands, bro, you eat the cheese and the honey with your hands like an animal. It all makes sense, dude.
That's
It all
sloppy.
makes sense. I know it's a little filthy, a little down and dirty, but it makes sense, bro. It all makes sense. I'm telling you right now.
I'm I don't do when I get some more cheese from the herd share. I like doing that cheese and honey. It's really just the best because it's just like a plain farmer's cheese. And I've decided I've cracked the code to keep the cheese fresh. Is save he ships it in its own way, so like I'm just gonna save the whey in a jar and partition off cheese in the jars with the whey, so then it like will stay fresh. Because if it's in the whey, it's not gonna get moldy. It's not gonna get dry. And that cheese, like that fresh like moist farmer's cheese is just like the best with honey. It's just so good. And then I'll let
I have
some dry out.
I have some excellent advice. When you get hard cheese like cheddar cheese, if you want it to last, put it in jars and seal it. So what I like doing, because listen, I buy like 20 pounds of I buy 20 pounds of cheese and 20 pounds of butter at a time. Recently, I've been buying 10 pounds of butter at a time because honestly I want the butter to be fresh because I'm a gremlin. I can eat moldy butter, but it's not really pleasurable. But the cheese, honestly, you can make the cheese last forever, dude. All you got to do is put it in jars. I like getting 32-ounce ball brand jars with a wide mouth, so you can like shove your arm in there. Put all the cheese inside of those jars. Put it in the fridge. It'll literally never go bad. It'll start molding after months, but you can just cut the mold off, and anything under the mold is fresh. So you can
Yeah,
really
see,
make that
I've
cheese
always
last
wondered
forever.
about that because I mean, why is that? Is it because I don't know? Because I mean, I just honestly leave the cheese in the wrapper, like it comes in those plastic things. And I honestly just leave it in those in the fridge and I just cut it off as I go. And that works out pretty good, but I mean, I just don't really want to I just some like space logistics and jar logistics. I mean, I just have too many jars. It's either like I have too many jars that I'm using or I have too many jars that I'm not using. It's never an in between where like, oh, I have a reasonable amount of jars like in storage and a reasonable amount of jars in my fridge. It's never like either or. So I don't know. I just I guess in the fridge it's a little better, but I like leaving the cheese out because it like it dries faster. Of course, in the winter it's a little better 'cause I got the heat on and the air's more dry, so it doesn't get moldy at all, which is pretty nice. I can just leave cheese out and it just dries, it doesn't mold 'cause there's no moisture in the air. But in the summer and stuff, yeah, it does get a little more moldy, so that's not too great, but honestly, the mold goes away. Most of the mold goes away, like, once the cheese, like, ages, the mold dies off and it, like, disappears. So, honestly, like, if it is moldy, I just, like, cut it, leave it on the plate, and let it dry out, and then it won't be there in, like, a month. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't like the cheese when I wanna eat the cheese for nutrition, I don't like it being dry like that. I like it not particularly
moist,
moist, but
yeah.
when you get, like, a fresh batch of cheddar cheese?
Yeah, and it's got some give to yeah. No, I agree. I don't like hard cheese with honey. It's not as good. I like the harder cheese for the cheese strains, but when I'm eating, yeah, cheese for minerals, like you said, like, yeah, it's much better fresh with the honey. I don't know why that
Yeah.
is, but yeah, it's a lot better.
Dude, I've had some like spiritual experiences in my life just eating cheese with honey, bro. Like I can't even describe it, man. Like listen, meat is great and all, but like I really feel like the magic in this diet is with cheese with honey. Just anything dairy, man. Like dairy is just where it's at, dude.
Yeah, I do love what I do is I drink like some honey and then I'll chug a bunch of like clabbered milk. That's like I love doing that at night before I go to bed. Or buttermilk, you know. Um yeah, that's really just
Sour
really
buttermilk
cool.
is a pretty powerful feeling.
Yeah, I have my Amish when they make my butter, I just buy I get like a gallon, gallon and a half of buttermilk and they know I always buy it. I get a good deal on it. I get it for like, $10 or whatever. And yeah, it's really good in the summer or in the bath, but like yeah, you come home when it's hot after being outside, like you just chug a bunch of cold buttermilk and it's slightly sour, but it's got like this creaminess to it. It's really good. It's also really good in hydration formulas. I like putting it into my hydration formulas as opposed to like more water or something or whey. The buttermilk's really nice. So,
I don't I don't do this too often, but diluting your lube formula with a bit of milk is pretty pleasurable.
hmm,
You
interesting.
ever try that?
No, I don't know if I would. I don't really like the lube formulas as it is. I just kind of eat them to, for the health benefits.
You know, at
So,
the conference, is there gonna be a lube formula making thing?
yeah, there's going to be a demo for some things, but yeah, I mean, we're going to have basically everything all day. So, I mean, there's going to be ready-made lubrication formula, milkshakes, fresh milk, clabbered milk, fresh cream, sour cream, vegetable juice, um, mint and cucumber tea, mint and cucumber water, lemonade, cheese out, eggs out, butter out, little sauces and accoutrements out for meat. We're gonna have, meat dishes, ice cream. We're gonna have strawberry ice cream, vanilla ice cream, and with what I'm gonna try to do is add in nut formula, like roll little balls of nut formula, put them in the fridge, and then mix them into the ice cream, so in the vanilla ice cream, so it's like cookie dough.
That sounds
Um,
good.
yeah, we're gonna have. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty like banger weekend of food, just all day, every day. Like you always
Dude,
have
save me some
something.
ice cream.
So yeah, cheesecakes and the ambrosia pies and um, yeah, it's just an onslaught of food and
Let me just say,
yeah.
I had this dream that I've never forgotten about. I had this dream like 2 years ago where I was at like a primal some kind of primal meetup thing, and we were having a lubrication formula contest, who can make like the most delicious lubrication formula, and I won that competition. And I've always wanted to enact that fantasy someday.
Well, yeah, maybe you can do that at the conference. That would be yeah, that'd
Listen,
be
I make
great.
one divine lube formula, bro. I'm telling you.
I believe it.
I really think the only reason you don't like lube formula is because you haven't had mine. That's what I think.
No, I don't like butter. I don't really like butter just in general. It's just too much for me.
You know, that reminds me, you said something that I resonated with. You said that there's kind of two types of people. There's one kind of individual that craves sweetness, and then the second individual that craves saltiness. And that seems to be very true because hilariously, in the diet hemisphere, there's kind of like two kinds of extremes right now, which is either drinking salt water or drinking sugar water.
yeah.
And it seems like what kind of individual you are, you'll fall into that. The saltwater thing has really died off though, but I feel like the sugar thing. it comes and goes, and I think that's just more people probably prefer sweetness over saltiness. I'm a sweetness guy, but here's the thing: I don't like sweet food, but I love sweet drinks. Like, if you give me something sweet to drink, I can't stop drinking it.
Yeah, I'd say it's yeah, fruit juice or soda, sugarcane juice, anything like that. Yeah, is pretty satisfying. Yeah, I was never a salt person. Salt and vinegar chips were good, but that's because the vinegar balanced out the salt. But otherwise, like I've had food before, restaurants and stuff, and it was just like too salty, and I was like, no, like I'm not gonna eat this. It's just bad. But yeah, sugar, like yeah, I eat anything that was there were things that were like too sweet for sure, but generally, yeah. Uh, President Rock kind of pisses me off, not gonna lie. That's funny. What did he do to you?
That's brutal.
That's funny. Yeah. Uh, Heavy cream. Yeah, heavy cream can be a little much. It's good mixed with fruit though. It's almost like yogurt, so it's not so bad, but and like butter, the only time I really like butter is when it's like with a baked potato. Something about the starch and it kind of melting makes it more like really actually the only kind of appetizing instance where I would be like, yeah, that's tasty. I would go out of my way to eat that, like butter like that, but just butter with like if it's dates, cheese and butter, the butter has to be cold. If the butter's warm, it's not good. I don't like it. Um but yeah, and otherwise it's like no, I don't eat butter and honey. Um I I I'll eat butter with meat sometimes, but it's not that great. Blue formula is not that great in my opinion. Yeah, more of an
I
eggs
literally
guy.
can't. I can't function without butter.
Yeah, I'm just eggs. It's like I'm really big on eggs. So, I don't know, they're easy to digest, they're easy to deal with. They taste fine. It's very convenient, so but butter, it's
I
like
do
I've got to do things for it.
I do like eggs, but I have found that on an empty stomach, raw eggs are a little hard to handle for me. And
Mm.
I've seen that in a good amount of people. Like the big thing is this doesn't happen to me so much nowadays, but back in the day, especially if I had raw eggs on an empty stomach, they'd make me super nauseous.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people complain about that, especially with the egg white. You just have to power through it. Like I used to have some of that problem, but a lot of that is also due to the feed. Like a lot of people who get pasture raised eggs, a lot of farmers give scratch feed to the chickens still. Even though they're on pasture, they're like, well, they need some more protein. It's like, well, not really. But
That
that's really what and I know this because I was getting eggs from a guy's backyard. And in the winter, it was a lot worse because they didn't have any fresh foraging, but they were $2 a dozen. Eventually, he raised his prices to like $4 a dozen, and I'm like, dude, you're not producing like $4 a dozen eggs. Like these are trash eggs. He's like, oh, the feed's up. It's like, okay, well, why can't you just like get cheaper feed? Like don't buy store feed. Just like make your own feed. You know. I mean, maybe that's a little easier said than done, but like you're just feeding soy trash to these birds, and the eggs are terrible, like, in the winter. It's better in the summer because they're foraging, but I mean, the Amish people I get them from now, it's 250 a dozen, and they're all pastured eggs, so it's like night and day difference.
Yeah, I will add I seldom get perfect quality eggs. I've literally only one time in my entire life have I had corn and soy free unrefrigerated eggs, and that was literally just to try them. Because I can't reasonably get them at the moment. I literally just get my eggs from Walmart, dude. They have pasture raised eggs there, and the brand I buy from, It's 30% soy, 65% corn, and then the rest is whatever they can forage, which is a very tiny amount of the diet. They're mainly just eating corn and soy, and they are obviously refrigerated. So that obviously makes them not optimal. But I'll tell you what, eating refrigerated eggs feels a lot better than eating frozen meat. Like the refrigeration doesn't seem to completely, nuke the nutrition that's in the eggs. And also,
Yeah.
I've never had fertilized eggs, and fertilized eggs are definitely healthier. They have stem cells in them, for example. And, not to mention the physiological benefit that just will come from a bioactive egg, an egg that's actually been fertilized. Like when the sperm reaches the egg, there's like a zinc explosion and all that. So non-refrigerated fertilized corn and soy free eggs must be like super good. So that probably contributes to the nausea that I've had with the eggs. Them just not being optimal quality, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I've been on fertilized, pastured, non-refrigerated eggs pretty much since I started the diet. So, I guess it makes a big difference. I don't really know the difference of it not being that way, but um, like, yeah, it's good.
Should look at
So
chat. There's a lot of messages came in.
eating raw egg whites is crazy work. I mean, it's just logical work. It's big brain work. If you want protein, you don't need to be afraid of egg whites. If you're afraid of egg
Also,
whites, you're not scientifically literate, honestly.
controversial opinion, but I think the egg whites are better than the egg yolk. I like them more.
Someone else said that too. I think I'm not partial to either or. I think they're both fine. I like the whole egg. I mean, I slonk them so they come out combined, you know. Um,
Right.
and that's really the way to do it because it makes the texture less weird. Honestly, like one time, I was with a friend. We were working the merch table at Nick Rochfort's Scuff Realtor Live, and then we went out partying after with Nick and Alex and some other people, and he got really sloppy drunk, and he had to drive back like an hour away, and he was messed up, and I was like, man, you need to like sober up. And so I had a couple eggs, and we're just like in the middle of the street at like 2 in the morning, and I was teaching him how to slonk eggs, and he slonked them. He's like, "Oh, that's actually not bad." And then I drove him to like a Taco Bell so he could eat more food before he drove home. He was pretty dead set on driving home, and my goodness, I but he got home all right, and I feel like it was because of the eggs. It helped, get him back to reality a little bit, and of course, eating that other food helps too. But yeah, it's like I always try to tell people to slonk their eggs instead of drinking them out of a glass, especially because the texture really throws people off.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it for sure. And there's something to be said about eating food with your hands that's beneficial. Um,
Yeah,
you know, even though most eggs people get nowadays are garbage, they even put a petroleum wax on eggshells. I still think there's something, about that contact, your hands touching the shell, not to get a little pseudoscientific, but maybe there's some kind of like energy transfer, some frequency or something like that. Just seems better to eat food with your hands. Because listen, even though I really like eating my cheese with honey, with a spoon, because honestly, like this is kind of like some remnants of my autism. Uh, I don't like having sticky stuff on my fingers. It feels icky and gross.
sure, I get
But
that.
eating, like if I get over that, if I just push that aside and I eat the cheese with honey with my hands, I feel like there's a benefit to that. Something feels a little better about it. Even though I don't like doing it, there's a little benefit to it. And I think there's something to be said about shotgunning the eggs. I call them shotgunning it personally.
Hmm. Um, Preventing hair loss from heavy metals, more fat in your diet. I don't really know if there's a way like your hair will thin and thicken over time. Like I buzzed my hair to make the soy jack meme, my thumbnails. Everyone's like, "Well, you're losing your hair. You're losing your hair." It's like literally buzzed all my hair off. So I mean, of course I don't have any. Now my hair like grew out, and people are like, "Whoa, you like grew your hair back?" It's like, no, I just let my hair grow. You know? But there really isn't anything you can do to stop hair loss like that. I mean, it comes and goes. Um, the peppercorn stuff doesn't work. Um, yeah, and
I
cook.
do want to add, I think I told you this before, but I think for like a hair loss or hair, like, growing your hair, you have to be so strict because I think I told you, but minoxidil, which
Yeah,
endogenous is
6 to 10
prime, it was,
months. Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, if you're really gonna try something, you really gotta commit to it. But
yeah.
yeah, I don't really think this Agenus stuff really works. I was pretty strict about the bone marrow and butter, and yeah, for months it didn't do anything at all. Like it didn't even really thicken up my hair or stop shedding. Um, so
Have you seen the Indian dudes that reverse their hair loss with pig lard?
yeah, that was one study that never replicated.
Yeah, yeah. It was more so not even a study, just like an anecdotal report.
Yeah, I
And
mean it. Yeah, I just think it's like nothing
I had a
else
v
came from that.
I I also had a viewer of mine. Again, this is another anecdote, but I had a viewer of mine whose father would boil. He never figured out exactly what it is, but he would boil some kind of animal fat in a pot, and then he would wash his hair with that, and it would make his hair grow back because he had a little bit of hair loss. So I think there's something to that, the animal fat on the head. But again, you know, it seems like you got to be so strict with a long time with it for a long time, and I can understand. You do that for a few months, you don't see any progress, it'd be demotivating.
Well, the other thing too is there's all these people out there with hair loss trying stuff, and no one else has really been able to do this. That's the other point. It's like, yeah, people know about it. If it really worked, I'm sure people have tried it, and it hasn't worked for people. So
Right.
that's why I'm
Well,
skeptical.
unfortunately, the pharmaceutical drugs do work, but that's not something I would, expose myself to just to grow a few centimeters of hair. And an interesting thing, this is actually like old information, but it recently got popular. Minoxidil, if you put it near your cat, if you like get a little bit of minoxidil on your cat's fur, it'll kill your cat. So,
Jeez.
not a super healthy thing.
How long does seed oil detox take? Years. It depends if you're talking about hydrogenated oils, which will harden, according to Agenus, harden in the body. And really, the only way to get them out is the lymph baths. But if you're just talking like just standard oils that aren't hydrogenated, you're looking at 7 years ish at least. But you don't need to do anything special for those. Just eat fats and meats, and your body will eventually get rid of them. But the hydrogenated oils and the super processed foods are the really bad ones to look out for. We don't like to talk about hair loss because we don't know why it happens. I mean, we can talk about it. I just can't really, we don't know why it happens. So, I mean, how much, I just can't. There's no magic bullet. Everybody wants a magic bullet.
I mean,
Or,
that's pretty true though. Like, it still is pretty unknown what really on a biochemical level causes hair loss. Because, they'll say the most popular theory and the
DHT.
mainstream
Yeah.
consensus is DHT. But we look at men from, 50, 100 years ago, they had much higher DHT levels than we do, and they're not balding. Now, you could just say it's toxins that cause balding, but that's pretty vague and doesn't explain a lot of intricacies. Why do some people with low, why does taking DHT blockers stop some people's hair loss, for example? So it's a complicated subject.
Yeah.
I
It's
will say,
nuanced.
I heard one theory that sounds reasonable to me, but I can't find any evidence on this. I heard a theory that DHT in the presence of mercury becomes toxic. and that doesn't seem unreasonable to me.
Yeah, that's basically Ogenes's theory. The testosterone, combining with the heavy metals and leaving through the scalp. That was his theory.
Yeah,
How much progress do you set yourself back if you eat one single seed oil meal? I have no idea. I even know how to quantify something like that. Um, Not good though.
you
You start
can't
early.
quantify it. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just reading the chat. Still, if you start early and you didn't do tons of margarine, it should be 10 to 15 years. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it really just depends. Getting fat helps pretty much with everything. Fast food has those same hydrogenated oils in the foods, depending on what you're eating, but you're probably getting some with if you're eating whatever fast food chain you're eating. Um,
I've checked, and generally, you can really only find hydrogenated vegetable oils in margarine and in fast food places where they deep fry food, like Wingstop or KFC. They use hydrogenated soybean oil. But in most foods, you won't find hydrogenated oils. You'll find like canola oil, rapeseed oil, and stuff like that, but generally not hydrogenated. It's possible maybe they hydrogenate it and it just doesn't say it on the label. But
well,
either
it
way, from what I've
depends
seen,
on what you're eating, right? Like a burger's not going to have that, but the bun might, like your, I don't know, your McGriddle bun might, like anything that's like really processed, overly processed is going to have the hydrogenated oils in, most likely.
all all the
So,
buns, all the buns have oil, but it's usually not hydrogenated. It's usually like canola oil or something like that. And let me tell you something, because I've wanted to get my family on like healthier bread and whatnot, because they all eat bread. You can literally only find in generic grocery stores one brand that doesn't have vegetable oil in it. Every other brand of bread has vegetable oil in it. It's very difficult to find one without it.
if you can find a store that has a bakery, usually some of their higher end breads don't have any oils in them. I was just looking at it today. Um, they have like higher end breads that are $4 or $5 a loaf, and they don't have any oils in them at all. So I think I think it's kind of catching on that they're offering alternatives without the oils.
They are, and listen, this is a small thing, but it's a sign of the times. At my Walmart where they sell the grass-fed beef, they started selling tallow. That's the first time I've ever seen tallow in the store. So there's definitely like a wave of people eating animal foods now. And at my farmer's market that I go to, when I used to go there, there'd be nobody there. There'd be like three people, and all those three people were buying like honey or sea moss or some other something like that. Now everyone there is there to get milk. It really, a lot of it happened after the election, and I feel like
Yeah,
RFK has something to do with it. I think RFK probably popularized it, but
yeah,
either
especially
way,
down in
people
Florida,
are. Sorry, go ahead.
especially down in Florida, Trump country down there.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, things have been changing recently, and like just seeing tallow in the store, that's a small thing. It's not a product I would ever consume, but it makes me happy because you know, 10 years ago, tallow would have been seen as a poison. Any kind of animal fat was seen as a poison.
Bought celery today and it was bitter. Is there different types of celery? Dark green celery is bitter. The lighter, more fluid, white filled celery isn't as bitter. Yeah, pretty much. Um, if it is more bitter though, it's probably better for you. The more, the darker colored something is, the more nutrients it has. Um, Peanut butter is totally hydrogenated. Yeah. Didn't USA ban them? No. In a sauna where your head is sticking out, be a decent replacement for baths? No. Most hydrogenated seed oils are inside the dough. If the cookies itself and stuff like that. Yeah, it's true. It's like baked goods, instant noodles. Yeah, lots of boxed food, packaged food has hydrogenated oils in it. Have you grown celery partially yourself for juicing? Do you have a garden? Yeah, I used to. Growing celery is a lot of work. Growing parsley is pretty easy. It's good to have on hand. And I used to do a garden, but now I just help out at farmers markets and get all my produce there, and I don't have to worry about a garden. I might plant some tomatoes or something just to have. Um, but yeah, I don't really do too much gardening. Celery juice help hair loss, make it worse by causing more detox. I don't really think it does anything. Funniest shit I've seen from Resident Raw was him called those girls goblin head and baby head. Very accurate. For raw meat, is Whole Foods or Sprouts better? It's kind of the same. Keto was huge 10 years ago. Yeah, that's true. Whole Foods mogs, trust me. If you want to max out seed oil detox, do raw cheese, raw butter, raw coconut cream, and 90-minute hot baths. Yeah, I mean, really, the baths are really the only thing that are going to help with that, and the coconut cream. But you can do the limp formula too, which has the pineapple and butter and stuff. Maybe it's just my location, but Sprouts is low key. But yeah, it could be your location. I wish Whole Foods had raw milk. That'd be nice. Do you feel good on primal diet? And also, why would you spend your whole life focusing on detox? Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good. Everyone around me, my age, is going to the doctor for something or complaining about something, and I'm not. I just eat food and I get better. I'm not spending my whole life focusing on detoxing. I detox way less than when I first started the diet and less severely. Let's see here. I think I had a cold for a few days, like 3 weeks ago, and then several months. It was Thanksgiving was the last detox I had before that. So it was like 5 months before 3 weeks ago, and then before that it was like almost a year. I had anything like pretty serious. So, um, I'm not trying to force detoxes. They just happen. And if you're not doing this diet, you might actually be detoxifying more because you're going to be dealing with more stuff. You're not going to have the fats in your diet and all that kind of thing too. So yeah, I mean, I can work all day and I have energy. I don't really, you know, worry about that. Um, and it's just an investment in being able bodied and healthy when you're older too, because that's when everything starts to kind of close in on you. You run out of enzymes. Which
Yeah.
is like Edward Howell, it's one of the books Autogenous Sided enzymes are kind of the key of life. And when you're a kid, you're making them in abundance. And as you get older, you just lose the ability to do that, which is why it's important to eat raw foods because they'll help replace those enzymes. And is acne a raw milk detox? Um, it could be a lot of things. I just bought 3 wasabi plants. They grow well where I live. And that's awesome. Having access to something like wasabi would be really nice to have, like real wasabi. Um, Horseradish is all right. Make some horseradish sauce. It's good with pork. I really like it with pork. Thanks for the answer. Yeah. Am I stupid for wanting to move out just to go on the diet? Yeah, kind of. Um, it'd be better to just do the best you can where you're living and save up money. Because I mean, it's a whole different world out there right now. I mean, 10, 12 years ago, you could move out and get an apartment for like $500, or you could get a house with some buddies and you wouldn't have to pay all that much. Um, and it's like now it's like cost of living is just through the roof, man. Like you don't understand. If you move out, honestly, you're a young guy. If you move out and you don't have a significant source of income, you're not going to be able to afford the diet anyway. That's the irony of it. You move out, you're looking at paying, $800 at least for a 1 bedroom apartment. And then like that's not even including utilities, which are going to be running like fixed rates, monthly fixed rates, $60, $70 bare minimum for gas, for electric. And that's just to pay your utility bill. It's just to have utilities. Then you have to pay for usage. You got to pay for water. You got to pay for internet, like all that stuff adds up. You're at $1,000 a month at least just to live, and that's if you want to live in like kind of a not so good place. If you want to live in a decent place, studio apartments start at $1,200, $1,500. You get a roommate, okay, sure, you split the cost, but still, you're still around $800, $900 a month just to live. And then you want to do the primal diet, and you're going to be spending at least $500 a month on food, at least. I mean, it depends on the area. I've got my food costs down really good, but I'm the exception. I'm not what's you know, common for people. Like I drive an hour each way to get butter for $5 a pound. Milk, it's either $7 a gallon or $13 a gallon. The eggs is 250. The meat, beef is 10.50. I get tuna for $1.50. Bellin chicken's $5 a pound. So like you put all these costs together, you're gonna find out really fast. Like, oh, I can move out to do the diet, but I'm only able to work at like I don't know Lowe's or the library or manufacturing plant. I'm getting paid $20 an hour. I'm making $800 a week. It's $3,200 a month before taxes. And how much money are you going to have left over? Subtracting your living expenses plus gas or transportation, and then some savings. Like you're not going to have but $300, $400 for food. So yeah, hopefully
Some
that puts things
people
in perspective.
some people are talking about the living in your car method. There's a lot of people that do that. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, because look, cars are expensive too, man, and it's stressful, and you have to, yeah, how are you going to get a job? Like, it's really hard to have a job when you're living out of your car. A lot of places you need to have a fixed address. If you don't
Yeah.
have like a parent or a friend or something that can let you use their mailing address, it makes it a lot more difficult. So, like I said, cars are expensive too. Like gas ain't cheap now. I mean, it's going to be $6 a gallon soon. And then you need to get something fixed on your car. Forget about it. You're looking at $300 minimum. Shop labor starts anywhere from like $70 an hour to $120 an hour. And then,
Well,
yeah, it's
to
ridiculous.
be brutally honest, this country basically hates homeless people. And the reason why is because they don't contribute to the GDP. And what's funny? Like, have you ever like seen Portland? Like where the like Portland's got a big drug problem.
Not in person.
Have you seen videos of it?
Yeah.
Something like hilariously, I kind of see myself in some of these people because some of those hobos in Portland, a lot of them aren't even native to Portland. They come on buses to Portland because they hate society, basically. But instead of like choosing the good path, which is what we are doing, which is, eating raw foods and trying our best to stay away from modern lifestyles, these people just, go straight to the pit of hell and just start shooting up fentanyl. But I kind of relate to these people because they hate society like a lot. Like if you you know I watch a lot of interviews of these like Portland people, and like I said, they just hate modern society, but they find the wrong outlet to take that hate out. So it's interesting, but I'm willing to bet, and this is something I've wanted to do. I just don't know how to go about it. I want to go to like homeless people and try to like get them to try some raw foods. Like one thing I think would be really funny is imagine if you put high meat in a pill and you just got them to take it and see what it would do to them. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
But at the same time, though, down here in Florida, we don't have any hobos, and the hobos we do have, they're schizophrenics.
Yeah.
There's no drug addicted homeless people here. They're just all schizophrenic.
Well, I'm sure some of them are on drugs too. I mean, because honestly,
Yeah.
if you're living on the street, you need something to get through the day.
Well, where I live in my area, there's four homeless people. One of them is this Jamaican guy with long dreads who is like straight schizophrenic. Um, I don't know how else to describe him. Like, like he starts talking to things that aren't there. The other one is this white guy who's bald, and he reeks of urine all the time. That's not to insult him. He genuinely just reeks of urine. And he's one of those where he'll just like space out. Like you can tell he's not on the same reality we are. Um, and he's not a drug addict. He's literally just schizophrenic. And then the other two are random like Mexican looking dudes that are also schizophrenic. But the Jamaican guy and the white guy have it really bad. Like they're really out of touch. The other two guys are kind of normal, but you'll speak to them and they're like, like stuttering all over their words and shit, you know?
Mm,
But yeah, none of them seem to be on drugs. They're just schizophrenic.
yeah. Um, yeah, I just live with parents' dog. Yeah, I mean, you can go move out and get a job. See, here's the thing. The social money is at least I don't know where you are, but there's thresholds. So like if you have a job, you're not going to be able to have a job and get social money in most cases, or you're going to get less of it because you have a job. They make it really difficult. They make it really weird. So your best bet is to get social support living at home and work a job, cash under the table, and then just just eat food. Like you don't have to eat at home. Just go outside and eat. And then just eat the raw meat outside of the house and just eat everything else inside the house. It's not a big deal. Let's the oysters are heat from Whole Foods. Yeah, Whole Foods does have really good oysters. We have plenty of homeless, but we also have fresh wasabi. Primalism said he might move his way here to Oregon. I wonder if he will visit.
Kat, can you tell us a little bit more about primalism? Because you know who primalism is, Chris?
Yeah.
He's been like going through a change recently, and I don't want to say I'm concerned for him, but I feel like he's been. I don't know if he quit his job. That's what I'm concerned about. If he quit his job, I'm a little concerned. I don't think he did though, because I don't know. I feel like he's made some like really haste decisions, but I could be wrong just from the way like his YouTube channel's been. And he's talking about woofing now, where if I'm not wrong, that's where like you kind of just live on a farm. If I'm not wrong,
Yeah.
am I correct?
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I'd like to know more because I've reached out to him, but he's not on Discord anymore.
Mm.
I'll tell you what, there's quite a few things he's doing in the right. He's gotten in the right step. Uh, what am I trying to say? Anyways, he's done some good things. Number one, he's doing no fap now, which is good. Number two, he's quit all social media other than YouTube, which is good. That's why I can't reach him on Discord. And number three, he's finding God. He's finding a higher power than himself, which is a step in the right direction.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, those are good things. So. Yeah. Be here.
I had a talk with him that I feel like resonated with him
Nice.
because I told him about like a higher power, and then I also told him I'm like, listen, this modern society, it's all BS. Because something about primalism, um, he tries to conform. You know, even though he eats raw meat, he tries to conform. Kat said he's having a mid-20s crisis, and it's been a long time since he's had a woman. It's definitely getting to him. He hasn't quit his job yet, but he's reduced his work days. Okay, that's interesting. I had I feel like I had my mid-20s crisis when I was like 16. I feel like I got that pretty early.
Mhm. Early bloomer, huh?
I'm definitely what you would call an early bloomer. You know, I've had a lot of friends that have spoken to me, and they're like, "Oh man, I feel like I'm a late bloomer compared to you." But no, I'm literally I'm just an early bloomer. I was way too early.
Hmm.
Who Whoever goons in the big 2026 needs to uninstall. Listen, I'm a big proponent of no fap, never goon. I think it's a great thing to not do that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think it's a good use of your time to do that stuff. It's yeah,
Well, I think it's a detriment to your health
in some ways, yeah, not just
because
physically, but
the thing that's really interesting is your semen has a lot of zinc in it. And zinc is like one of the most important minerals. Zinc pretty much creates children. Um, when a sperm fertilizes the egg, there's an explosion of zinc that happens that you can see on an X-ray or like an MRI, whatever they use to like check to actually see the sperm fertilizing the egg. You can see an explosion, and that explosion is zinc. To me, that's really telling that. And by the way, if you check your mineral, if you do a blood test before and after ejaculating, your zinc levels go extremely low when you ejaculate. Like if you get a blood test after ejaculating, your zinc will be so low that like you'll be considered to have a zinc deficiency. It does normalize after a few hours, but either way, like I don't think it's a great idea to be just removing your zinc out of your body multiple times a day. Just doesn't seem like a great idea.
hmm,
And not to mention, if you don't, if you never goon, your own body regulates that for you. If you really need to get something out, your body will do it while you're sleeping.
right, that's true. So,
Also, last thing I'll say about this, monkeys in captivity will excessively goon, but monkeys in the wild are not really observed to do that. It's only monkeys in captivity. And you are a human in captivity, so there's that.
pretty much, yeah. What do I think about Andres Nilsson? I don't know. I think it's pretty funny that he used to eat, the spherage diet, and then he had to stop because he wasn't drinking vegetable juice. Um,
I can't lie, dude. Andreas is like genuinely crazy. Like I wouldn't say crazy, crazy. Like he's not schizophrenic
you're
like
not sure
Frank.
he's just European?
Yeah, yeah. Europeans are a little crazy, dude, aren't they? Anyways, here's the thing. I feel like he's like a lost soul. I can't even lie. And I don't even see what the problem is, dude, because he's pretty young. I think he's like I don't know how old he is. He looks like he's like 26, 27 or something like that. Um he has a farm. I don't really see what the problem is, honestly. I really don't, but you never know a individual situation. I'd have to really speak to him to know more.
Hmm. Yeah, I've never spoken to the guy, so
What did Kat say? I have to admit, I feel a bit of the concern that he changes his mind often, and I don't want to see him make plans till he marinates on them for a while. He's going to move in with his dad and brother. He's talking about primalism. That's
primalism.
interesting. He was going to focus more on his channel. I really hoped he would choose that. He has been, working a lot on his channel, but dude, something that's honestly pretty like depressing is his audience like turned on him as soon as he stopped talking about this degenerate stuff and he started taking like a more honorable path. His audience turned on him. And it's just like, I don't want to say he built his audience on like degenerates, but a lot of his audience was just made up of degenerate people. And
Yeah.
as soon as he turned away from that, I mean, he was never a degenerate guy, but he definitely like, put up with it, I guess. But yeah, his audience just isn't happy with his new change, which I think is unfortunate because I feel like honestly, like his newer videos are so much more entertaining than his older videos.
Hmm. Yeah, that's too bad. Yes, I know Soul Bro. Agenus was a gooner.
I mean, he only spoke about that like not, a handful of times. It's not like he was actively, out there recommending gooning as a health thing. But I will say somebody earlier said that ejaculation is a detox pathway, and women do it through their genitals. But here's the thing: women live longer than men. And the reason why is because, they use their genitalia as a very effective detox pathway. Men certainly goon a lot and they still live shorter than women. So it's not a valid detox pathway in my opinion. It's really not. Now, of course, women living longer than men. A lot of that has to do with men go to war and men work in dangerous fields. But there's so many cases of women outliving their man that died of natural causes. A funny example I think of is Alexander and Anne Shulgin, that were drug chemists, and they both consumed the same drugs. They experimented on each other with the same compounds, and Anne Shulgin outlived Alexander Shulgin by 8 years. Alexander Shulgin died of liver cancer. He wasn't an alcoholic either. So, women definitely seem to live longer than men. And I even think like, those tribes that Augenis met that lived like over 100 years, I think you would say that the women were the longest living ones.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Was that?
I love primalism because of his personality. I don't follow the primal diet, but the two of you, Chris and Leo, are some of my faves. Cat, I'd like to. Cat's kind of like I don't know what's I don't know how to put this. Like Cat, like why? Like what's your role? I don't know, because Cat's like a very sweet lady, but I wonder if she's like, do you just like alternative people, like alternative health people? Or are you into some alternative stuff? I'd like to know a little bit more about Cat.
Oh, um, charge. Well, this guy in the tribe was 160 and a male. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the elusive Philippine tribe.
I will say I don't know how much I believe that, but what I will say is there's definitely people living over 100, a lot more than we'd think. Like I said, I eat raw meat on my own. I don't really get my food choices from anyone. That's reasonable, but I'm telling you, bro, eat cheese and honey. Get you some good cheddar cheese, some unheated honey, really raw honey or weeby honey. Dig into that. It's life changing. I could use some cheese and honey in my belly right about now. I can't even lie.
Yeah, I've been nomming on this chicken. Pretty good. Just
You know, when you
regular.
have when you have like good quality unsalted cheese, you can really tell that like what you're eating is literally just dried milk, just old milk that dried up.
What?
You didn't get that?
What? No. But what
I
about
mean,
the milk?
like when you have truly like, unsalted cheese, you can like really feel what it is. Like it's basically just milk that's dried up, you know what I mean?
Oh. Yeah, maybe, I guess.
Because one thing I will say, when you get fresh butter, you can also like taste the milk in it. Like you're like, this is literally just milk that was somebody shook it in somebody like churned it and put it in a plastic lid for you to eat. Like there's something about the raw unsalted dairy products that you can tell it came from milk, if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain it properly, but you can really tell that's a milk product.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of people talking about Ray P exogenous diet. I think it's really silly because I don't know. There's just nothing you can take away from Ray P diet. The only thing you can really take away from him is his science and his work on the thyroid, because he really emphasizes the thyroid, and that's a great thing to be doing. But like, what are you going to incorporate from Ray P's diet? Orange juice. Orange juice is not a great thing to have. Coffee. Coffee's not a great thing. I mean, what are you going to incorporate from his diet?
Me? Nothing.
No, I mean, like, people that say combining Ray-P and Autogenous principles is like great. Like, what are you gonna add to the primal diet that's gonna make it better? Because I can't think of anything.
I don't know. Do you think it's common to grow at 18? I don't know. I think if you do some stretches and stuff, it might help, right?
I've been stuck at 6'2" since I was like 15.
Hmm. Stuck at 6'2". Yeah, that's like
I mean,
a
it's not like I'm disappointed about it.
yeah.
But even then, listen, people criticize me on this. I say height's not that important, but people are like, well, of course the 6'2" guy thinks that. But I don't know. I think if I lost like 3 inches for a better physique, I'd probably take that offer.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, I don't think I don't know. It's like sugar maxing. Don't fear it. Well, I mean, sugar upsets your calcium and phosphorus levels in your blood, so I don't think that's not something you want to add into your life. I mean, Ray Pete talks about the liver and the oysters and okay, but like, oh, I don't know. I guess maybe it's more of like what to stay away from. Ray Pete, he thinks all um, PUFAs are the same. Like, don't eat fish because they have PUFAs in them is a completely. I think it's really stupid to say that because, like, okay, you're saying the PUFAs in fish are the same as the PUFAs in like canola oil or something or nuts. Like, they're not the same thing. They're different fatty acids. So,
Well, to give him credit, Ray Pete's diet is essentially a normie diet minus vegetable oils, and that'll definitely like keep you healthier than the average normie diet.
hmm,
Because think about this: the diet he'll generally recommend, orange juice, uh, no polyunsaturated fatty acids, so no vegetable oils, lots of cheese, lots of dairy, meat. I mean, it's very similar to a normie diet. It's just low in grains, low in nuts, or pretty much no nuts. He's very against the consumption of nuts. And, for a normie, that's not a bad thing. You should, like peanuts, those salted, roasted peanuts they sell in the store, you should definitely avoid those. So, it's very similar to a normie diet. Like the biggest thing I think of is the coffee. Like every normie drinks coffee. The youth nowadays tend to choose energy drinks over coffee, but, anyone over the age of like 40 drinks coffee. Also, you can see, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but you can see coffee in people's eyes, around their eyes, where they get this like dry patch, this like outline. You know what I'm talking about? Where there's like an outline under their eye.
no, you talking about the eye ball or the eye area around the
The
eyeball?
the eye area right under the eye.
Oh, hmm.
That's all coffee. Like coffee does this thing under your eyes. Let me see if I can find an example of it. Can't get a great one. But another thing is the sugar is really glycating for the skin. And you can see this in Ray Pete's face. His face, you can like literally see the glycation forming, where like the protein is being overtaken by these carbohydrate molecules.
Hmm. Interesting. No, I never really thought to look at that. I mean, I can look at people's face and you can tell if something's not right, but never
It's
really
pretty
linked it to one
funny.
food.
People will criticize Autogenous for the vegetable juice, which isn't valid, but let's just say vegetable juice is oxalate poison or whatever. Um, A lot of people that like Ray P will just completely skim over the fact that he thinks that caffeine is a nutrient and that coffee is like a super vital food. A good example is Face IQ. Unless Face IQ comes out and he's like coffee maxing, I don't think he agrees with Ray Pete's stance on coffee.
Hmm.
But he takes everything else from Ray Pete, so
Yeah, I don't know. See here. Um, Raw ice cream and nut formula kind of frozen. Yeah. How detrimental is it to eat frozen food since I follow Agena's? Like, is it really 80% worse? So I mean, there really isn't anything like concrete. I mean, Agenus, he did those studies, but there's no proof he ever did them. They've never been replicated. I will say, I don't feel as good when I was eating frozen meat many years ago. Probably the last frozen meat I ate was probably like, I'm talking like beef. It was probably 6 years ago, and definitely doesn't taste as good. But
I do want to add,
yeah,
Phoenix told me he replicated the experiment, the frozen meat experiment, and he told me he did not have the same findings. Um, I don't know how big the sample group was, but he told me he fed his dogs frozen meat and absolutely nothing happened to them.
yeah. I mean, he's got working dogs that he feeds frozen meat, and yeah, I mean, I've seen the dogs, and they're fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with them. Um, so I mean, that's really just what it takes is like for people to, and there's a lot of unknowns in that experiment. Like, okay, well, where did he get the dogs? What was the health of the dogs? Where were
You
the
know what I was
dogs
thinking?
living? And some dogs have reactions to chicken. Like some dogs cannot eat chicken. Like they'll get mange or they'll have some problems. They have like a reaction to it. Because if you think about it, dogs really wouldn't eat birds, really. I mean, so I think there's some argument for like, well, it's like not really part of a dog's natural diet to eat birds. That would be like something cats eat or other scavengers would eat. Dogs would eat bigger game, right? And wolves, they hunt bigger game, right? They don't hunt birds. So I think it's very likely that, some dogs just cannot eat birds. It produces a bad reaction. So it's like, what even was Agenus feeding the dogs all the time? Was it the same things? And I mean, there's a lot of unknowns with that experiment.
One thing I was thinking of is sunlight. It's possible
Yeah, that
those
too.
dogs had no sunlight.
Yeah, if they were just inside all the time, bad food. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really make sense. So I don't really think it's 80% of the loss of nutrients. I think it's I think it's some for sure, but I think 80% is a bit exaggerating. I mean, 80% is like what happens when you cook food. And
Yeah.
like in some ways you cook it, it's not even that bad. It's not even 80%. So I don't know. I
I
just think,
argue it's closer to 20%.
yeah, I would say 20 to 30% is a reasonable line in the sand to draw. But yeah,
Also, one
it's
thing I want to add, this is kind of off topic, but Jeff Slay?
yeah,
You've seen the before and after pictures?
yeah,
Something I've noted is in his after picture, he's tan. He was getting sunlight. So I
yeah.
think, there's a sunlight's
Well,
just like,
that could also be because his body didn't have the nutrients to process sunlight. Like, because I've had friends where they're very pale and I'd be very tan. And this was after I started the diet. I wouldn't use any sunscreen. And they would say, "Wow, how do you get so tan?" And I was like, "I don't know. I didn't really even think about it." But they're like always very pale, right? And they weren't like skinny and underweight. They were fit guys, but they just could never get a tan. and I don't really know why that was. And they would go outside, but you know, it's like, what is that? I don't
Some of
know.
that is also like your body is so desperate for vitamin D, it'll refuse to tan you.
Mm, that's interesting.
I
Could
mean,
be.
that's why you get pale. It's so your body can utilize as much vitamin D as is possible. Because one thing I'll tell you is uh it's really harmful for black people to live anywhere other than the equator because their skin is so resilient to the sun, they develop very severe vitamin D deficiencies.
Right,
Uh,
they get like rickets, I think, something
yeah,
like
that's why
that.
they have a bunch of strange skin disorders. You know, there's a lot of skin disorders that are like basically unique to black people.
Interesting. I think that explains all the Medicaid spending in Minnesota. A lot of those
Hmm.
Somalians are not getting enough sunlight, so they have to use all that health care. All that's where all
I
that
will
that's where all that
say,
money's going.
I will say, I think, I don't think it's an unreasonable thing to say that some African Americans don't have the best behavior. And I think some of that might honestly have to do with vitamin D deficiency because I go crazy if I don't have sun. Like, I'll even tell you, like, I don't know how much of my older videos you watched, but in my older videos when I was pale as a ghoul, I was kind of a little bitter. I wasn't like a hateful or like a bad person, but I was kind of bitter. I was a little sour.
Little sourpuss.
And yeah, yeah, and now that I'm tan, like, that's all gone away, like, it's really, calmed me down, like, you just get a little crazy. Think about, like, Russia, all them Russians are
Yeah.
crazy as
Well, it
hell.
has to do
Eh
with the food too. I mean, a lot of people in the black community, they're not growing up where there's a lot of good options for food. It's like,
Oh, yeah,
oh
they
yeah,
eat the
there's the
worst of the
corner
worst.
store and the McDonald's and the Burger King. And it's like, they're not getting real food. It's like the kids, they're just drinking juice. No one's drinking like milk or water. Like it's just like, oh yeah, just drink this juice, and it's just like sugar water. It's like okay, and eat this processed food, and even in the schools, people get the food in the schools, but it's just like, they're just eating Uncrustables and like other crap. It's not even like real food. So, um, like, yeah, I mean, I think that's a big part of it too. Doesn't it doesn't even, yeah. So
Of course, but I'm just thinking that the sun really has a lot to do with it, just in food, it's pretty much impossible to get any negligible amount of vitamin D from food. The only foods that have any notable amount of vitamin D is dairy. And even then, you'd have to drink like 30 gallons of milk to get as much vitamin D as you'll get in like 30 minutes of being in the sun at like 10 UV.
hmm.
So I think that chronic vitamin D deficiency is really like just not good for black people. I think like if you're black, you really should be living at the equator because you'll just never get enough sun anywhere else. Even like here, bro, I live in South Florida. I almost feel like I'm not even getting enough sun. And I go out, the UV is like 8, 9, 10. Sometimes it goes as high as 13. But I am a Mediterranean, so I'm used to that amount of sun. The thing is though, my skin is really pale, like naturally. Like where my tan isn't, dude, I'm literally coconut white.
Hmm. I found raw unsalted cheese in my local farmer's market, but it has truffle. Is that a problem? If it has salt, that's a problem. If it was heated above 102 degrees, that's a problem. You'd want to ask those questions too. I don't really know the truffle stuff. I mean, generally, I think the truffle, what is that? It's just like dried and then they shave it or sprinkle it in. So, I mean, I don't really think that would be a huge problem. But
I've
the what you want to look out for is in the heat. Those are the questions you want to ask with cheese. If there's salt in the rennet, that's not a big deal. What you want to avoid is salt added to the cheese after the rennet as well.
I've only ever seen truffle in pasteurized cheese. I've never heard of any kind of raw cheese with truffle in it.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like some sort of artisan cheese. I've heard all
If
the
I'm not
vitamin D
wrong,
gets stored for later when you get none. I don't think so. Everyone brown, black, white in America eat pretty much the same. Eh, that's not true. I
Black people
mean,
definitely eat way worse than white
yeah,
people,
it's
man.
it
Like,
because it just it's I mean, it depends on the area you're living in. Like, definitely all races of people, all demographics living in a certain area in a food desert, they're all going to eat the same way. Yeah. And you know what? They're all going to have a lot of the same problems, to be honest with you. Um, so it's just, you can get into like why people report on stuff or don't report on stuff and what you see in the news or the internet. And, it gets into that. But yeah, I think the bad food, it causes a lot of the same problems in a lot of people. So, what did Weston A. Price think of raw meat? Weston A. Price said that if you're eating meat, 50% of your diet should be raw meat. What he observed in the tribes was that if you're eating meat, 50% of it should be raw. And it's funny, I know a guy, he had a Weston A. Price chapter. This whole thing, he was a lawyer, and Sally Fallon like made people chapter leaders sign this thing, and they fought her against it because like they were lawyers. It just was this pretty ridiculous thing. But he went to the first Weston A. Price conference, and he asked Sally Fallon, "Well, your cookbook doesn't have anything about raw meat in it. Well, how is this based on Weston A. Price when Weston A. Price said that 50% of, your diet, if you're a meat eater, should be raw meat?" And she gave this convoluted explanation. Well, raw meat is going to be gross. I'm not going to make any money, basically, and it'll turn people off. And that was the gist of it. But yeah, Weston A. Price was totally raw meat. And there's like the Weston A. Price Foundation, and then there's Sally Fallon's Wise Tradition. They're separate entities, but Weston A. Price was a fan of raw meat, and he said people should eat raw meat. What about Native Americans, though? How did they get enough sun if they were native to America? Maybe they weren't native to America. There's a lot we don't know about history. They would also move around a lot, um, allegedly, according to, because they didn't really have like governments and nations and things. They had like territories, and they would migrate with the bison or whatever with the seasons. Could I
well,
survive if I'd move out with the social service I have? I don't know, man. I don't know where you live. I don't know what your cost of living is. It's a lot. You have to do the math yourself. Normies are normies regardless of race, which is 99% of people, is true. Is that Resident Raw? Yes, we have Resident Raw on live call. He's live.
I do want to add about the Native Americans. You do also have to consider the fact they're not as dark as black people. So they're getting more vitamin D than them. And also, natives generally, like, they didn't wear a lot of clothes and they were outside all day. So they wouldn't become vitamin D deficient like that. Keep in mind, people today wear clothes. That blocks a lot of vitamin D. If if you're wearing a shirt and long leg pants and shoes, you're blocking out about like 75-80% of all the sunlight.
Yeah. When I go outside sunbathing, I have white linen shorts that I wear with no underwear. And the white, it's fairly transparent. I forget there was a color of clothes to wear. It's like most light gets through it, but yeah, you just gotta do the best you can. I mean, you go outside to suntan, just you don't have a privacy area, just take some shorts and just do that. That's what I use. It's
Call me
fine.
s- call me stupid, but why have I never thought of that? Why have I never thought about wearing shorts that are like as transparent as possible? I don't know why I've never thought of that before. That's a really good idea cuz what I do is I have these polyester short shorts and cotton underwear. So I'll just put the cotton underwear in the polyester short shorts, and that's how I sunbathe. And the polyester isn't making skin contact, so I don't really care. But that's just what I do. I just wear these little short
Yeah.
shorts. But that's
I
a really good
found
idea.
these. I found these shorts at Old Navy. They were on sale. Little. They were on sale because they're like Disney shorts. Just got like the Mickey Mouse head by the pocket. It's embroidered, but they were like $10 for a pair of linen cotton shorts. I was like, oh, that's a great price. Like, you're never gonna find linen shorts for less than like $40 and they were like $10. I was like, yeah, I bought 2 pairs. I bought a pair that I get dirty and then I got a pair I keep nice, white. Um, but yeah, so it was a good buy. Um, you can buy any, they don't have to be linen, of course, but any sort of cotton short would be good. Cause then, cause like you're just putting 2 layers of clothing on top of an area that might benefit from some sunlight. And like, if you just have one pair of shorts, then like more light will be able to get through. So yeah, that's how I feel. It's white. Yeah, it's actually
Yeah.
kind of brown because they're dirty, but yeah, they should be white. Um, how do you get enough magnesium without supplements? Um, I don't know. I guess I do. Between the vegetable juices, the dairy, the cheese, the oysters, I feel fine.
Well,
I
I
heard,
can tell you,
uh-huh.
um, I know quite a bit about magnesium. So, celery juice isn't super high in magnesium. Some of the other vegetables are quite a bit higher in magnesium. I forget which ones. I can't
Leafy
think of them off the top of my
greens,
head.
leafy greens, beet tops, Swiss chard,
Right.
kale, lettuce, that sort of thing.
And then milk, coconut water, and Gerolsteiner are all pretty rich in magnesium. Gerolsteiner isn't like super duper high in magnesium, but there's enough magnesium in there. If you're drinking like, a liter of Gerolsteiner a day, plus your other food, you're getting a lot of magnesium. But I mean, you really don't have to worry about magnesium or any of these other minerals. You'll get what you need on the diet as long as you're eating things other than meat, because red muscle meat and poultry is really low in minerals. Like meat is really low in minerals. It's does not have a great mineral content. If you're in the wild, if you're a healthy human, it's enough. But for what we need today, it's not enough. You really get those minerals from dairy and a little bit of coconut water here and there, a little bit of Gerolsteiner. All of that has enough minerals.
Yeah. I heard an eye doctor say that most contact lenses have UV protection. Also, most windows on homes and cars. Yep. Most
That is true.
most sunglasses as well. With
That is true.
windows, you want to get it's called float glass. It's hardly used anymore because it's not energy efficient, but you can find an older home and it has the natural single pane glass that's float glass, and like 90% of the 95% of the UV gets through, and that's really a better window. But yeah, the new energy efficient windows, they dim the UV. Um, are you going to eat moldy berries soon? No. They say linen has 5,000 hertz frequency. They tell me. Doesn't red meat alone eat up and dissolve the brain, cause of proteins or something? Um, Meat and fat can be demineralizing, so why it's important to have like oysters and cheese and honey, clabbered milk, vegetable juice.
Yeah, that's another thing. High fat itself, just consuming high fat is kind of demineralizing. That's another reason why the juice is important and the cheese with honey is important. Because when you go high fat, you start like depriving yourself of minerals a bit. I'm not 100% sure why that happens, but yeah, high fat diets are a bit mineral demineralizing.
Yeah. Well, it's 1 o'clock. We've been going 2.5 hours. Um, had a lot of good talk here, a lot of good audience participation. Big thanks to Resident Raw coming out.
I'll stop harassing you.
What do you mean harassing me?
Harassing to get on your stream. I'll
Oh,
stop doing that. I'm
it's
sorry.
okay. I mean, I don't mind. Every once in a while, it's fine. Not against it. So,
It was fun either way.
yeah. So, um, I feel bad for people who fear the sun too. So anyway, Yep, 2.5 hours. Gonna wind down and watch some anime. Good night, everybody. I'll probably stream again this weekend. Take care.
Good night. That was fun. I'm gonna go shove cheese and honey